Hi, we're back again live here. I'm Tom Brush. We've got our guest Clif High. This is cpnlive.com. Clif, one thing I wanted to touch on, and this is right up front in your report, it's called the Disclaimer of the Extremes. Could you explain what that means?
When I first started doing this work, I knew I needed to have the ability to tag emotional components to words, so I set out and built a numeric scale. And as one might suspect, if you're given a lexicon of several 100,000 words, it's easier to identify words that go towards extreme emotions and be able to quantify that. In other words, it's easier to say, oh yeah, fear is certainly a negative 10, and joy is a positive 10, or bliss is a positive 10. But it becomes more difficult when you get down into shaded emotions. Frightened, is frightened a 4, or is it a 6, or whatever, or -4 or -6, depending on how you want to think of the scale. And so, because it was easier to assign emotional quantifiers to extreme emotions, we have a tendency to concentrate, so to speak, as an artifact of our processing on those extremes and draw in more of those. So basically, you can look at our reports as being a worst-case kind of scenario, that if you can see it described in our reports, it probably won't happen 100% that way, but some of the language we've described to some degree will actually show up in describing the events that will come out of it. And hopefully what we've done is capture the far end of the extreme that won't really materialize. It'll just be somewhere between where we are now and that far end of the extreme range.
So based on that, and that makes common sense, and I think it's important for the listeners and the viewers to understand that, and hopefully they'll order your report and read it. How do you? Let's say you're just the average person. You're hearing this now for the first time. What would you suggest a person do to prepare for what you see coming here shortly?
Well, two different levels of preparation are required. For the immediate, few years, you need to concentrate on skills that allow you to be as self-sufficient as possible, because everybody out there is going to have to rely on themselves first. And you're also going to need to spread those skills around if you can, because everybody's going to need a lot of help. It's common sense. Can food if you've got excess food around. Figure out how to dry it to save it if you've got that ability. Whatever we can use in the way of resources, figure out a way to put them to use or store them for future use, because we're in a world of hurt, especially relative to the food supply. We've had 8 years now of a decreasing grain production globally. So it's going to get quite tight for us all. And then on the larger level, one needs to upgrade their ability to think about things in a flexible manner for the new paradigm that we'll all have to deal with as we come out of 2013. Bear in mind, we're going to go through some horrific Earth changes. We're in the process of it now. All the planets are replicating what's going on here on Earth at extreme levels, and so there's no reason to suppose that it's going to go away anytime soon. If it does start fading, and it should fade from 2013 to about 2020 and then gradually dampen off just because of the region of space we're going through. But it will require the ability to be flexible in your thinking to decide, nope, it looks like it's going to rain for another 2 solid months, so maybe I'd better, plant my garden inside my garage this year and grow them with lights or something. I don't know. It's going to depend on your individual circumstances, but the ability to be flexible in your viewpoint will certainly aid.
It makes a lot of sense. Clif, if people want to get this report, how do they go about doing that?
You can go to halfpasthuman.com and you can purchase it via PayPal right off the site. We only deliver the report in an electronic form. It's just too big for us to print out and mail to people. But if you wanted to mail us a check with your email address, then we'll send back the report via email once we've received your check. And it costs $10, and it gives you a good perspective on what to look forward to, and at least will open up your mind to potential that might emerge around you. And unfortunately, we've been reasonably accurate in the past. I like to say that we're about twice as good as what chance would allow, which still means we're wrong about half the time, but unfortunately about half the time we're correct.
Okay, so that's halfpasthuman.com, and we urge our viewers to go out and get the report. $10 is a pretty reasonable price for the amount of information you're getting. It's about 50 pages, and we've certainly purchased it here and have enjoyed reading it, and I think that it has helped me in a couple situations where if I was kind of on the fence about whether or not to take some preparatory steps, it's helped to urge me to move forward sooner rather than later. So
it is a good motivation package because you see those words appearing, and anything that's in the little square brackets are words we're actually pulling out of the data. And when you see them, it's like, oh yeah, maybe I'd better go and get that extra case of olive oil or whatever. Yeah.
Sure. Now the report comes out periodically. When do you anticipate doing the next one?
We should have the next one out by the 21st of December. Takes us about anywhere from 18 to 20 days just to do the data gathering, and we'll turn that data gathering on in the first part of November. We're in our decompress mode, and we're tuning up the lexicon during this period. So about the 21st of November, or December, we should have the next report out.
Great. Would you like to come back and talk to us again once that, as we get closer to that? All right.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Cliff, I want to thank you for being very generous with your time and discussing the report with us. And
no worries at all. Glad to do so, guys.
We hope that there's enough infrastructure in place in December to discuss the next one. So
it won't be this December that'll be the really nasty period. It'll be, whether we can make it through into past July. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye.